keep it real with ya.
I would get a sore throat right before time to record. Hey everybody, it's me, Minu. Welcome back to my channel. Sorry I haven't uploaded in a minute. I'm about to explain why. So if you notice, it sounds like there is an echo as I am speaking, and that's because I'm in a big empty room. But this big empty room is my office and my new home. So around the time that I went to Japan, I also, because I like doing hard things and making my life unnecessarily hard, I also bought a house. So I am now a homeowner. Well, am I really a homeowner or do I just have a home loan? You know what I mean? Um, if you are in Discord, you already knew this, but for those of you who don't go to Discord, yeah, that's what I did. I did it with very little money out of pocket, which was surprising for me. But it was a really good, I had to, fire some people and hire some new people to kind of help me through the process, but I got it done. I got it done. I got the house. I've moved into the house. I've paid for upgrades in the house. I've gotten the cats acclimated into the house. Shortly after moving, I had to go on a work trip, so I've had to get real cozy with my neighbors very quickly to just be like, hey, I need somebody to come and watch my cats. Hopefully today somebody will be coming to mow the lawn. So I've been getting real chummy with my neighbors. And yes, I am still in the South. But I am in like a very white area now. So everybody I talk to is white. I saw one black lady the other day while I was driving, and part of me just wanted to pull over and be like, hey, hey, how are you? But I mean, I'm mostly comfortable around white people. I'm not one of those people who's like, cause I was talking to a coworker. She was like, why didn't you move to Atlanta? So you could be around your people. And I was like, them's not my people. Like, I don't think of race meaning that they're my people. I've been played before thinking race meant somebody was on my side, and all skin folk ain't kin folk. Anyway, but yeah, so I did that. I don't think it still has fully hit me that I did that, but the fact that I'm making this video, I think it's starting to hit me as I'm talking right now, which is pretty weird and stressful because I know it's one of those things where it's just like all you ever hear on social media is like how impossible it is. And don't get me wrong, it's hard as fuck. Houses are extremely overpriced. There's a shit ton of new construction houses that are being poorly built and they're going for like $500,000, even in the South. And I'm just like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. And then if you want something affordable, then you got to go to a house that was built in the 80s and a hoarder lives there and you're going to spend $50,000 just making the house livable. So it was a difficult process. And I did struggle a lot with moments of it's an affordable house, but it's a piece of shit. And I'm going to have to spend a ton of money to fix it up. But also, I should be grateful that I even have an opportunity to get an affordable house. But then also my therapist had to get real with me. Like, she was literally like, can I be real blunt with you for a minute? And I was like, I love that. And she was like, you ain't going to fix up that house. You're not going to pay the money to fix up that house. And I was like, you're right. I can't even put up a painting. I'm not going to spend tens of thousands of dollars fixing up a house. So it was a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of stress. I was very upset. I was very anxious. And then on top of that, I really wanted to go to Japan for my birthday. And so it was all kind of happening around the same time. And it was a lot, but I actually did it. I made it through. I will not be posting pictures of my house on social media. As I decorate some rooms, I will show you guys the rooms. Like, I want to decorate this room. This is kind of my office, so I don't think I'm going to decorate it too horror-like, but I have another room that I think I'm going to put like a lot of horror decorations and posters on the wall. So I'm super excited about that. And once I do that, I will be filming from that room. There's not a lot of natural light in that room, so I'm going to be a bit more yellow. But I am excited to like actually decorate because I never decorate ever because I'm always like, why would I decorate if I'm going to move in a year, like, or 2 years or however long I'm in this temporary renting situation. So since I'm not renting, I am, I can decorate. I can put stuff on the walls and stuff. And I realized when I moved because I packed everything myself, that I own a shit ton of horror decoration. Like, I own a lot of skulls. And I love skulls. Don't get me wrong, I got the shirt on right now. I love skulls, but I was like, I own a lot of skulls and skeletons. Um, but I'm excited to like put them all up on some shelves and, kind of get comfortable. The cats have adjusted pretty quickly, probably because I live out in the middle of nowhere now. Like, I was thinking I was no in the middle of nowhere, but at least I was like, a short drive from a Walmart or something. But now I'm really nowhere, and it's very quiet and it feels very safe, and I really like that. Ma'am, you trying to fit in a box? Are you comfortable? So yeah, the cats are comfortable. Morticia has plenty of boxes for herself to like sit in and enjoy herself. So she's good. Sadie's sitting over in the window, looking outside at, I have the kind of neighbors that will just like go for a walk in the neighborhood and stuff. So it's like that level of safe. I also have several neighbors who have lots of cats. So one of my neighbors who watched the cats while I was gone recently has 7 cats and 2 dogs. Another neighbor across the street has 4 cats, one of which does come outside and roam around. And they used to be friends with the previous owner's cat, which I also thought was cool that the previous owner had cats. So he was able to, tell me how his cats like the area. I don't think Sadie would be making any friends with neighborhood cats. She just ain't the type of cat to do that. She's the type of cat to be very angry that you are like in the area that she claims is her territory. But maybe Morticia will get along with the cat. I don't know. Hello, Sadie. She realized I was making a video and I was talking about her, so she popped over. Anyway, if you could sit down, ma'am, that would really be appreciated. Um, but yeah, so as I decorate more, I will be showing y'all my decorations and I'll be posting them and everything. Um, but yeah, I did the thing. So what I wanted to talk about today, if Sadie will sit down, I love you, Sadie. You can't sit on my chest though. Man, why you sniffing my face? Sit down before I start. Ah, my shirt. Her claws keep getting caught in my shirt and my pants. Man. Man. Yeah. A wrinkly shirt. And I love you too, Sadie. Thank you for the headbutts. Now sit down and don't fall down, okay? Okay, I angled the camera down a little bit more so you can see more of me. You can also see a bit of my microphone there. I'm gonna talk a little bit louder because I know it's echoey because everything's still in boxes and I don't have a bunch of furniture. But yeah. So what I want to talk about today, I've been doing a lot of introspection. My therapist also has been asking me if I want to do EMDR again because since I've moved, I am no longer in survival mode. So I'm able to have a bit of, please put your booty down. I'm able to have a bit more of a positive outlook on things and kind of think that, things are stressful and I still have tons of anxiety about anything I could possibly have anxiety about. But I am no longer in survival mode to where I am kind of able to have like these higher level thoughts, like I've talked before about how I don't really have like a lot of goals for the future. I'm not, Sadie, please get your butt down. You smell like Fritos. I don't have a lot of like goals for the future. It's more so of like, I just want to feel safe. I want to feel stable. I want to be able to exist comfortably. So when I went to her and I was like, I'm thinking I could probably buy a house. Tell me how crazy I am. And she was like, you're not crazy. I know you're going to research the shit out of it and you're going to like, plan everything very thoroughly. So if it was you were buying a house tomorrow, I think you're crazy, but yeah, you're probably just making like, a higher level decision of trying to be somewhere not permanently. I don't like that word. I don't like the words forever or permanently, but somewhere stable for a few years, and I don't have to do this song and dance every year of how much are you going to raise my rent? Oh, maybe I need to go move somewhere else, but then I move somewhere else and it's more expensive. And you know what I mean? The mortgage is going to be what it's going to be. And don't get me wrong, it's a high ass mortgage. It's around what they qualified me for based off my income. Because you know, when they want to give you the maximum amount of loan you could possibly get. Um, I could have made it a little cheaper by like putting more money down up front, but I'd rather keep money in my savings and just have a higher mortgage than put a bunch of money into something so I can have a little bit less money on my mortgage. It's making more sense. But if anybody has any questions about it, you feel like you are in that type of place, feel free to talk about it in Discord. I'm happy to share everything to make this as an easy and affordable process for other people. And I do it for free. I don't charge anything. I just be like, hey, I learned a thing. You can learn a thing too. But yeah, so what I want to talk about is recently, if Sadie can just get comfortable on my lap, you're doing it. It's not me. You can never get your right foot to balance properly on my thigh. You can never get it. It never works. There's nothing. I can't make my knees bigger. I can't. You just gotta let that right foot hang. Sadie's so mad at me. She's looking at me like I can adjust myself. I can't make my knees any wider for her to like perfectly perch herself on. So she does this until she gets comfortable. And if she can't get comfortable, then she will end up eventually like jumping off my lap. Anyway, so very shortly after moving into the new house, moving everything, doing my shutting everything down at the apartment and moving into the house, I had to go on a work trip. So if you're in Discord, you would know that I was on a trip recently because I was posting about a scary experience I had when I got into a taxi right outside the airport, which wasn't really a taxi. It was more like a guy with a car, and he had bought some like decal to go on his car. But it was really scary. It was really weird. Go read about it in Discord. But something that I was really, really nervous about was that it was a work trip, and one of the work exercises we were going to have to do was going to be centered around like your journey from childhood to adulthood and how it like makes you a leader. And it was really weird because it was like, oh yeah, be prepared to get vulnerable and like all of this stuff. And I was just really weirded out and I was really creeped out. And I wanted to talk about it with my main trauma therapist, but she was like, oh, you going on a trip? Cancel. So she canceled our appointment. She was like, you don't need to go to therapy on a trip. No, you're good. Go ahead, go on a trip, enjoy yourself. And then my other therapist, she was like, oh no, we can still totally have therapy. Just let me know if something comes up and you need to cancel. And I was like, oh, something came up. Like, I really need to see you to talk about this exercise because I was extremely, extremely nervous because when you have a lot of trauma, doing something where you talk about your childhood, especially in front of your coworkers, is immensely stressful and could lead you to, you know, sometimes if I get triggered, I just blurt shit out. So it could lead to you like blurting out stuff that you regret. And so I wanted to kind of like script it with my therapist of what I was going to say, what I wasn't going to say. But when the time came for us to have therapy, I literally walked out of the room with the work thing, went into the hotel room, sat down at my computer, got logged in and everything. And I was like, where's the link for today's meeting? And so I'm texting the therapist like, what's going on? Where's the link? I usually get a link so I can like do telehealth with you. And I didn't hear from her at first. And then I go and I search in a little portal and it's like my meeting had been canceled. And so I'm texting her like, why was the meeting canceled? I don't understand. And then like 15, 20 minutes later, she responds to me and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't know why the system canceled your appointment. I don't know what happened. Do you want to meet like at the end of this week? And so I was like, no, I need to see you now. I have a big meeting tomorrow. Say, I need you to get down. I need you to get down. Because she's digging her claws in to balance herself and it hurts like hell. But I need to see you now. I need to be prepared for this big thing that I have to do in work. I have to present my life story in front of all my coworkers. This is crazy. And she just was not available anymore. And because the thing didn't alert her, because she has ADHD and autism, because the thing didn't alert her, she wasn't ready to like get on the phone with me and talk things through. So she couldn't meet at that moment anymore. And I was like, I was so upset. And so I ended up calling my best friend and talking to them about it. And they gave me a lot of wise words of like, you don't have to tell these people your business. Like you literally could just, you don't even have to participate if you don't want to. And I ended up talking with, she's not my manager, but she's the manager of the team that I work with. And I ended up talking to her and just saying like, I'm really nervous about this. And I don't know if this is like, I'm going to be comfortable because it's just like, you got this guy coming in talking about you got to be vulnerable with each other and your life story and all stuff. And she was like, honestly, Minu, like, we won't know the difference of if what you tells us is real or not. You could come in and make up something and we wouldn't know and it'd be totally fine. It's just, talking about things that are impactful to you. You could say as little as much as you want. You can even completely opt out if that's what would make you comfortable. I don't want you to feel, triggered in any way or get upset over something like this. It's not that big a deal. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I felt a little bit better about it. So when the time came to do it, we had this guy come in from outside the company and they're like, he's going to talk to us about leadership and like all of this stuff, right? So we spent the first half of the day, doing it. And he showed us his. And so I decided to be like, I moved it around like what are the biggest, most impactful things to me. So the most impactful things to me are, going to Japan, graduating high school, graduating college, creating a documentary that has won awards, buying a house. Like, so I just kind of focused on like those big major milestones. But I did add in the autism piece. So I don't talk a lot. I don't talk at work about having like PTSD or trauma or anything like that. But I have been like slowly, as you guys know, talking about autism more and more. So I did add in like my autism diagnosis. And everybody received it very well. Like nobody looked weird. Nobody looked uncomfortable. They were more uncomfortable when I talked about experiencing racism in college because so the funny thing is I was not the only black person in this room. The two most recent hires that have been on these teams have been black women. So I was not the only black person, but I did talk about racism and stuff. And they were like, oh, wow, like can't believe people like treated you like that. But they were more uncomfortable about that. The autism piece, they didn't blink. Like, and maybe they just don't know what it is, but everybody responded like super normally to it. And the crazy thing is, like, I even had like during that session, I lost my gloves. So when I'm out in public, I have gloves and I have headphones. So I don't usually wear the headphones unless I'm like at a restaurant that's loud, but I lost my gloves and I completely freaked out. I was like, where are my gloves? I need my gloves. I cannot think without my gloves. My gloves had like a lot of grooves on them so that when I'm nervous, I can kind of like fidget with them and rub them. And the texture like helps me calm down in anxious situations like this, especially because this is my first time meeting, some of my coworkers in person. And everybody stopped what they were doing to help me find my gloves. Like we walked around, we retraced steps, we like looked around, looked under everything, like nobody was like, oh my God, it's just gloves, come down, Minu. They were like, oh wow, like how did your gloves disappear so fast? We gotta find Minu's gloves. And eventually I found the gloves and I felt a lot better. But they were like completely cool about it. And they were like, well, one thing we noticed about Minu, because they think I'm very funny. I don't understand. But some people just be laughing their asses off when I talk. And they were like, well, one thing we know about Minu, she gonna say exactly what she mean. And she gonna call stuff exactly as it is. And she's not gonna tiptoe around the point. Like, that's who you are. And that's fine. And they were like, yeah, you're just Minu. And, they see me more as like quirky and funny. But nobody was like, nobody had anything weird to say about the awesome stuff. And even later when we were all going out to eat and stuff, there was an inside and there was outside, and inside was like full of people and super crowded. And I was like, I really don't want to sit inside because I didn't bring my headphones and I'm going to be very overstimulated with like all of the crowds and the noise and the smells and everything like that. And so they worked really hard to find a spot outside in a corner, quiet. And yes, there were flies outside, but they was like, hey, this Minu needs to sit somewhere quiet and comfortable. And we're gonna find this like, space in the corner. And so it was just so much of like this is just how you are, basically, without any judgment. I've had so many jobs in the past where people have tried to teach me how to be more corporate or teach me how to act, because you already know that as a black person, they see you a certain way. So you need to behave like this, you need to talk like this, your face needs to do this. And I've just had so many times of people thinking they're helping me by making me feel bad for existing. Um, but here they were like, no, we like you just as you are, you know? Well, you know, you're funny, you tell things like it is, you have interesting stories, and it is what it is. You don't offend anybody, like you're just you, and they accept me as me, which is a huge thing. That I like literally as I was presenting, like I refused to stand up during the presentation because I was so nervous. So I said, I'm just gonna roll my chair over here and you just follow along, okay? um, but yeah, everybody else was super nervous too. Like there was people who was telling me, like, when we first met and we sat down to eat breakfast the first day I got there, they was like, I'm so nervous about meeting everybody in person. And I'm like, me too. I wish I brought some anxiety meds or something. And then I ended up talking to another coworker, and she was like, yeah, I'm on this anxiety med called Zoloft and I hate it. And I'm like, oh my God, I took Zoloft too. Um, so it was just good that, you know, we were able to like talk to each other and like connect over shared things like anxiety, and stress, and how the job is, and all of that. It was really good. And there was some really fun moments when we like, and whenever we went out to eat, we specifically picked places that had gluten-free and soy-free food, because Mino gets super sick if there's something with gluten or soy in it. And so we specifically picked places that would accommodate that, but that also were fun for everybody. And so nobody was like, ew, I don't want to eat gluten-free. They were more like, hey, what type of like restaurant is this? And like we'll go to like a Latin restaurant or something, and they'll be like, oh, what type of restaurant is this? What type of food is this? Do you like that? Does that sound good? Like they were just cool with it because they just felt like there's nothing wrong with eating food that doesn't have gluten or soy in it. It's not like we are craving something with gluten. We're just out here to experience new things and eat at fun places. And I picked some fun places for us to try that I wanted to eat at myself. I even had one day before the work meeting that the manager of that team, she messaged me and she sent me a screenshot of an order she did, and she went to a gluten-free bakery, ordered $60 worth of gluten-free like pastry items. And I'm talking all of this was dessert. This was like cinnamon rolls, muffins, trail mix, puppy chow, like all types of stuff. And I was like, this is for breakfast? Is this for, like, you just bought this for me? And she was like, well, everybody can eat gluten-free food. Not everybody can eat food with gluten in it. So, yeah, and then we can get coffee and we can eat muffins and cinnamon, whatever. I was like, this is crazy. Like, they were just like, it did not bother them at all that I needed what I always felt were basic accommodations, but what I had always been made to feel ashamed or guilty of when it comes to asking for things. Like, when it comes to me wanting a question to be phrased in a different way so that I could fully understand it, or it was, you know, me wanting a certain type of food or wanting to sit in a certain type of environment and things like that. Like, nobody ever treated me like it was weird or wrong to accommodate me, or that I should feel bad, or that I was inconveniencing other people by needing an accommodation. They were all just along for the ride, and they liked every restaurant that we went to. They liked all the foods that I ate. I had one person, because I went to get breakfast. I didn't eat breakfast with the company one morning because I wanted to go to a breakfast place that had gluten-free crepes. And so she messaged me and she was like, oh my God, they got gluten-free blueberry muffins, you know? And I was like, oh, that's cool. Thank you. But, you know, I'm getting crepes right now. And then she was like, oh, the afternoon snack, they put out a sorbet, especially for people who needed a gluten-free snack. Like, they were just thinking about me. And even the company themselves, because they didn't originally plan for me to be there because there was like a system issue where my stuff got erased. And so they were like, but we can find you something that's gluten-free and soy-free. You know, if everybody's eating cookies and you ask for some gluten-free, we're going to go get you a gluten-free, soy-free brownie. Like, the hotel will make it happen. And wasn't an issue. There was even one day the entire lunch for the entire event, mind you, this was a whole company here. The entire event, almost everything on the lunch table was gluten free, and no thoughts about it. Nobody being weird. Everybody was like, "Damn, this food good as hell." Like everybody liked what they was eating. Nobody complained about gluten this, gluten that. Um, it's a really different thing and different experience to just be like accepted immediately, like, and not be made to feel weird like I have been in so many previous companies when it comes to my facial expressions, the tone of my voice, the way my email is written. Like I just was so used to being criticized over every single thing, and to not be criticized in this situation was really, really nice. So I was really happy. And even though my therapist didn't help me script it, my best friend had my back. And even though she's in a completely different time zone and I was messaging her like super early in the morning, but they had my back and they were willing to just kind of help me like put things into perspective. And just having someone to talk to sometimes just takes some of the pressure off, right? And I don't talk to my family, so my friends are really the people that I need to talk to. And I'm not gonna talk to my boomer friend because she's not gonna get it. But yeah, so my millennial and my Gen Z friends, like, they really be coming through for me, and I appreciate it. I forgot to record an outro for this, but yeah, I'm gonna end the video right here. Next week we're gonna be talking about some dogs. Somebody's walking their dogs out. Oh, Sadie don't even care. Sadie and Morticia don't went to sleep. They've been sleeping so much, which is so good. I'm glad that they're sleeping and they're not bothered by the nature. But yeah, I'm gonna end this video here. Next week we're gonna talk about the introspection revelation that I had. I'm gonna talk about my journey in terms of the different jobs that I've had and the things that I've learned from those various jobs and how it's led me to where I am today. And I hope that it would be extremely helpful for people who are trying to figure out what the best job it is for a neurodivergent person who struggles to do things they're not interested in or that they're not passionate about. So I hope the next week's video will be very, very helpful for y'all. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Take care of yourself because you deserve it. Drink your water, eat your snacks, take naps, take care of this body because nobody can do it for you, and you really want it to be here for you tomorrow. And that's it. See you guys next week. Bye.